Hello and welcome to the Business Spotlight interview series. I'm your host Sonali Nigam, and today I have Helen Shaw with me, the co-founder and director of VCTC. Hi Helen, thank you so much for joining us. Would
Thanks for
you
having me.
Great. Would you like to kick us off with a brief background as to who you are and what you do?
Yeah, no problem. My name's Helen. I run and co-founded a company called VCTC. So, we are a clinical research centre, clinical site in the UK, and we run clinical trials with patients. My background is purely in this industry. So, I've spent the last 15 years with operational roles running global clinical trials. And I've always been frustrated with how long it takes to set up trials and how long recruitment takes and how little thought sometimes is put into what the actual patients on the ground experience when they take part in trials.
Yeah.
So, in my personal life, I'm also a rare disease patient. So, I take part in clinical trials myself as well. So, I have that kind of personal experience of taking part. And all of this frustration kind of grew. And then during the pandemic, we got the opportunity to do things differently in clinical trials. We had to really start thinking about the patients because the landscape was completely different. And, when we started doing that, everything changed. Recruitment was better. We suddenly were able to run trials really quickly. And so the time for me was right to actually go and do something actively about that and start the business. So VCTC, whilst we're a research site, we are motivated by wanting to make the experience better for patients and also making sure that everyone has access to clinical trials, whatever their background.
Wow, that's interesting, Helen. How much thought has been put behind bringing this up? So, if I may ask, what do you attribute your growth to?
So I think one of the main things for us is that we did have a strong background in the industry. So we knew all of the difficulties that our clients would face. We knew some of the challenges, but we also had a really good understanding from a regulatory and compliance perspective. So we were able to just get stuck in right from the start. We did our business plan, we did all of those pieces before we started, but we knew it was something that was going to be important. So we were able to jump quite straight in, really.
Yeah.
Um, and we also, I think, both Dan and I, so Dan Henley is the other co-founder, we had a really strong belief that our idea and business was really going to change the clinical landscape in the UK. And
Yeah.
we both had a passion for doing that as well. And I think it's that passion that's really seen us through. But then I think the other aspect of this is of course once we've given up our previously good jobs to do this business,
Yes.
we had to make it work. So I think that's given us another drive as well. So I think a combination of all of those factors really have supported our growth to date. I think future growth is going to be a different story, but to date, it's been those things that have pulled us through.
Wow. So the passion is clearly visible, basis the conversation and basis the history that I've read about. So interesting. And having said that, uh, what would you say as a biggest learning as an owner of the business running successfully?
Oh, the biggest learning. I think one of the biggest learnings that I had is how to run a business because I came into this with an idea. I came into it with a background in operations, in research, but I didn't have a background in business. So I didn't know anything about the financial side, the HR side, the employment side, all of those pieces of the business. I just didn't know about. So those pieces have been the biggest learning for me. But I think looking back now, um, it was absolutely the right thing to do to go into business without knowing those things. I think
Right.
it can be quite intimidating for people when you start looking at what you have to do to run a business.
Yeah.
But actually, that was the least of our concerns. Really, I'm really pleased that we just went forward with it despite all of those concerns. And obviously, the biggest concern for us when we started was around money for the business. And so one of the things we've learned a lot about was the financial aspects of a business, and how to manage cash flow and that kind of thing. So I think that the finance side has been a very steep learning curve for me.
So, not knowing about the business, but still able to run it so well. Interesting, Helen. And so, a lot of business owners are listening to you at the moment. So, what are some common misconceptions about running a business, and how do you address them?
So so for me, I think one of the myths is that you need a lot of money to start a big business. You don't. You need a good idea and the drive to do it. We started with a £7,000 director's loan, so a very small amount of money. And I think that a lot of people, particularly those that come from big businesses, can often try to over engineer the processes and support that they need to get going.
Yeah.
So working with small business is very different. So whilst you might need a lot of money to manage, a medium to big sized company, as a proper startup, actually you can do a lot with very little, and get going. We had very few people supporting us in the beginning, and we didn't get to more than 5 headcount for quite some time. So I think that's the first big myth is, don't wait till you've got a big amount of investment. Just get going and get your idea off the ground. And then second for me was around the thought that, because we've got a great service to sell, that business will just come. If you've got a great idea, we thought that everyone would want to work with us because we knew this was a good idea. We knew it was going to solve a lot of problems. And I think that is a big myth in business as well, that if you build a business, people will come. But actually, it's not been like that at all. We've had to work really, really hard for every one of our clients. And even though we're bigger now and we do have that marketing team and all of those good functions, we still have to work hard for our clients to find them. It's been consistent effort, blood, sweat, and tears all the way through for the last few years.
Mm-hmm.
And it's continually ongoing as well. Dan and I's outreach work is always non-stop. We're always at conferences and events and speaking to people about what we do. So that would be my second myth, is that you've got to work hard. It doesn't matter how good your business is.
I'm
It's hard
sure.
work.
It's a lot of hard work. I agree with you, Helen. And you talked about, you have to work hard to sell what you have. Having said that, during this journey, when you didn't know much about business when you started first, and then setting it up, you only have 5 people in the team, and then now you have 11 to 15 employees, if I'm not wrong. So during this journey, setting up teams, setting up the base, what were the challenges that you face? I mean, yeah.
So I think when we started, one of the biggest challenges was being able to get that high growth that we wanted right at the beginning with such a small team. We had such high aspirations of everything that we were going to change in the business. And we learned very quickly that we had to focus on one thing at a time. In our current business, we're starting to scale up and we are adding people to our team weekly at the moment. It's growing really rapidly now. But actually, that high growth is currently our biggest challenge. I mean, it's a nice problem to have. I'm definitely not complaining, as a business owner, to manage that growth, it's great. But we've just grown so quickly in such a short amount of time, and that is a challenge in itself. It's also challenging now to know where to grow. So, should we focus on expanding in the UK or should we look for international trades? We never want to stand still as a business. So we've always got challenges around how we can do more. What can we do better? Who else can we help? What are we going to do next? And I think that's our biggest challenge at the moment.
And that truly shows the high vision and high aspirations that you have for yourself and for your team and for the business. Having said that, you talked about you want to you just grow and grow. So if what are your aspirations for your company in the next 5 years, if I can ask that? Where do you see yourself?
So we are targeting a very high growth. So we're looking at 50 to 100% year on year growth over the next 5 years. And I see us opening centres in other countries, expanding our business reach to other areas, firstly, hopefully in Europe and then beyond.
Mhm.
Um, but really continuing to drive the growth of the business whilst keeping the mission and value and core focus that we have at the moment. So it's really important to me that as we grow, we still maintain the mission that we had at the start, which was to bring research to more patients and give access to everyone in clinical trials. I think as we get bigger, it's going to be really easy to get caught up in finance, profit, all of those things. But I
Yeah.
want to really make sure that we stay true to the mission of our company.
Helen, my best wishes are with you and your company. And basis the way the conversation has been, I truly see how much you're sure and you want to stick to the grounds of the vision and the mission that you set up when you were starting this all up. Now, when we talked about business, now let me quickly talk about your personal life. So, how do you put a balance between the two? So here you are, building the empire for yourself, setting this up right from the scratch. But then how do you put some time away for yourself or for your family?
So honestly, it's been really difficult. And a lot of the time, that's just because I really, really love running this business. So it becomes a point where working's also my hobby.
Mhm.
So it's very easy to get drawn into not having a personal life when you're running your own company. But I'm very, very aware that that is not good. And time away is really important to be able to step back and think about the big picture as well, particularly as we're starting to grow and strategy starts to take over more.
Mhm.
So I'm very, very strict now on what time I work. I make sure I go for walks at lunches when it's nice weather. And I'm also a keen short track speed skater in my, and that keeps me going. My training took a bit of a hit in the first couple of years, but I've
Uh-huh.
realised recently just how important speed skating is to me, and I've started working hard on that again. So I'm making sure I give myself the time to get training. I'm blocking out time in my work calendar so that I go and do that, and it's been really good actually, particularly over
Uh-huh.
the last months, to take that time back for myself again. Although I, although for every moment that I'm not working on the business, I'm kind of sad. I miss it. I'm excited to go back. I
Yeah.
know that it's really important that I do these things outside of work, and
Yeah.
I do take part in speed skating for the masters category, and I do compete for Great Britain and the UK on the international platform, and I'm actually entered into the masters World Championships in March next year.
Wow.
So I've got a target. So having that target to meet is good for me as well. It forces me to leave my desk.
Oh my God, I can't control my excitement, and I wish I could show it here. But I'm definitely keen to understand what is exactly the day looks like for a highly productive Helen. So what does your day look like, if I can ask?
So my day is just different every day, and I think that's one of the things that I love about having a business is that no 2 day looks the same.
Yeah.
So I don't get up that early. I was once told that you have to get up at 5 a.m. to be good in business,
Yeah.
and I am not an early morning person.
Yeah.
So I do try and get up. I tend to start work about 7:30, 8 o'clock.
Mm-hmm.
I have power hours through the day where I try, to get through a load of sort of the paperwork side. But a lot of my day now is talking to different people, looking how we can improve processes,
Mm-hmm.
setting strategies for the company, but then taking a break at work. So going out for a walk, spending some time with my husband, and then in the evening, I normally go for a bike ride or do some off ice training, or I'll go for a run or go to speed skating training. So I try and have that good mix. And then in the evenings, I will either read. So I've got a lot of work related books that I'm
Mm-hmm.
reading at the moment, or I'll do a few more hours of work without everyone else being around to interrupt me. But yeah, that's my days. But I do try and focus on getting away from my desk.
Can I just say this? Where do you get this energy from? Is there any mantra for that? If yes, you need to share with me and my views definitely, because this was inspirational. I am sure our audience have learned and picked so many things. I definitely have. So, is there any closing remark before we wrap up that you would like to say?
So I think my ability to do what I do comes from really loving the business and really loving what I do. And I've always wanted to run a business. I've always wanted to own a business, but I wanted it to be in something that actually made a difference. So I
Mhm.
think that if people have got an idea for a business, if they're unsure about it, but they really believe it's going to work, I would say just go for it. There's nothing like running your own business. There's not a job that even comes close to what I'm doing now.
So just go for it. Go for what you've thought about. Go for the business idea that still is in your diary and just go for it. That's the mantra we are taking away, Helen. So thank you
Yeah,
so much for your time today. It was great meeting you and learning so much about you and your journey. So to everyone watching, I look forward to see you in my next episode. Thank you, Helen. Thank
thanks.
you, team. Bye.